Hi guys, this is Forgetful Scholar, and let's chat about books. So this week I had Runaway, I had the Hathaway Sisters, and I had Super Accountant. All in all, like there was a couple dips, but pretty much all in all I had fun this week. And if my energy is a little weird, I had this. So this morning, I woke up to birds mating on my windowsill, and I'm pretty sure one fell off and died. I haven't checked my backyard yet, but like that's the kind of energy I have today. So take that as you will. So the first one we're gonna talk about is the Runaway, which is FM, sci-fi historical, and it's Keeper of the Heart by Johanna Lindsey. And this one doesn't have an interior cover. I don't know if it was ripped or anything. It doesn't look like it. Maybe it just didn't come with it. But it does have this picture on the end. So that's a little weird. But this book's a little weird. So for this book, shock horror, it's a 1 star. And not because of the main characters, not because the story plot wasn't interesting. The book, if I separate it into 2 thirds, the first part, lovely. Third part, great. The larger middle part, shit. And now the next book. No, okay. So, why was it shit? Well, this is a continuation of Warrior Woman's book. This is their daughter. So, Challen and Tandra from the first book, their daughter. And this one, Martha can just fucking die in a pile of wreckage, please. And then everything would be great. Then this book would be a 3-star. So Martha is the mother's AI computer that has personality of own and things like that, but doesn't have a body. And in the first book, her sarcastic, in-your-face kind of personality worked well with Tandra's fiery, fierce, John Wick-like person, because she is deadly in 9 sectors, just not on the planet her husband's from. Because a romance novel. That worked great. Actually, the first book I thought Martha was pretty funny. It gave some like really cool sci-fi elements to it. This one, Martha is with the daughter Shani, who's the main character of the book. And basically interrupts Shani all the time when Shani's about to stand up for herself or do something for herself. And Martha's like, I got this. Martha and the mother, which is very upsetting because before this, the mother was pretty cool. Just the whole thing. Martha is annoying, has pick-me energy, interrupts, threatens, instigates, gaslights, and just takes away Shandy's agency. And Shandy is from a culture of barbarians that could claim a woman if she's not wearing a symbol of clothing that says that she's under someone's protection. They could go, you're my woman. Yet the barbarians in this, including the main character Fallon, and the father Challen, and the brother, try to give Shandy choice. Give her more choice, give her more options, treat her more of a person than Martha and the mother do. And the mother is from a culture of all equals. Men and women are equals. So, which is a shame. It's a shame because the first conversation Shandy and Tandra have, a mother-daughter conversation, it's really sweet. You can see how close they are. You can see how different personality they are. And you could see Shandy's beginning to care for Fallon in this conversation. It's a great scene. And then Tandra goes off the deep end, probably pushed by Martha. It seems like that. And like things get out of hand. Shandy comes back from their Starfleet because she wanted to learn how to be a pilot, which is never brought up again. She never flies anything in. Cool. She wants to be a pilot because she wants to go to different worlds to find a bond that's not a warrior. And I'm like, cool. Not the greatest reason to have a career, but you're 20. So, okay, everyone's an idiot at 20. I was an idiot at 20, so it's fine. She meets Fallon, and because she has pain phobia, he unintentionally hurts her in their throes of passion, and she's terrified. And she tries to leave, and then Martha kind of threatens him, which makes him hate Martha forever. But that part of Martha being there didn't bother me. Coming back, like one of the first chapters, an admirer of Shandy's is trying to ask her out again, and Martha kind of humiliates him. Doesn't let Shandy put him off. Martha humiliates him. And I was like, oh, that would have been a great scene to see Shandy, like what kind of persona she has, because Martha tells us that Shandy just like lets people walk all over until she's done, and then she asserts herself. You know, it would have been great if we saw that in that scene, because that would have been a great scene to see that in. So, Martha, shut the fuck up. Thank you. And then, so the phobia is because she was kidnapped in a raid, which is commonplace when she was a kid, and the trauma's a little, and this is fictional characters, not real life characters. I would never try to diminish anyone's trauma in real life. This is fictional. Please understand that. And this is the basis for Shandy to have this phobia. And do you think so out of her norm that we're along for the ride for her? Okay? So, putting it that way, she's taken, which is normal. Even the father, who's super protective of her, wasn't really worried. But, like, the author went on the way to describe the guy that she was riding with as sadistic and like to inflict pain. He pinched her. He pinched her a lot until she screamed and passed out. And I was like, okay, I understand if you didn't want to, like, do a scene torturing a child, and it kind of felt more like the editor or the publisher was like, hey, he's pulled the scene back, which is fine. You know, okay. You could have had Shandy, like, seen him hurting somebody or, like, heard the screams and was really scared, because that's why she's really scared of challenge their people's punishment, which is basically bring their woman to a point of sexual frustration, screaming, and not give her relief, because romance novel. It's romance novel. And the thing is, she's gone, you know, to, like, she pushed the trauma for main characters farther than that in other books. And in this book, what makes this traumatic event that causes this phobia seem less than is that Fallon's sister at 15 was taken by visitors on the ship where they couldn't follow, held for 2 months, where she was beaten and sexually abused. So, you know, raped, and she comes back pregnant with that visitors. And that's why visitors are not allowed on the planet anymore. And that's why Fallon does not trust anything visitor, you know, stuff like that. See, with that trauma, against that trauma, it just makes Shandy seem like such a spoiled brat. And the thing is, when we get to see her personality, she's a sweetheart. When we get to see it, especially in the third part of the book, she's kind, she's compassionate, she has a lot of patience. But, you know, if you mess with someone else, she's going to stand up for herself, and she's a badass when she does it. And I'm like, I would have loved to see that through the meat of the book. We saw a little bit in the beginning, a lot in the third half, but in the huge meat of the second half, which is most of the book, we don't see that. We see her just running on fear and adrenaline, to the point where, like, she goes to a different planet where they brainwash their men, and she has a great scene where she talks to the general and how much the general laments and regrets changing her husband's personality, how much she misses him. The sister of the general hates Shandy, puts her in her room to be, whipped. Of course, Fallon and the brother show up. They save her. But, like, when she's about to get whipped, even though she's terrified of pain, she's not scared. She's pissed. And I'm just like, okay, you have to make that phobia a little bit more consistent if we have to believe, or we're supposed to believe, that she went so far out of character. Because she knows visitors. She's intelligent. She would know that the daughter, because she's a daughter of basically the king of her country, and betrothed to the king of that country on her planet, and she goes to another planet to hide out, and you don't think that's going to cause, like, an incident, like a war, or, like, tension? Like, come on. You know, she's smart enough to know that. But the phobia, of course, the phobia is overrunning everything. I understood that part. That part I was like, okay. It's a little annoying, but also it makes sense for the story. I'm going to leave it alone. It's just that the phobia wasn't consistent, you know? And then they have sex, and she's no longer afraid, and then the third part happens. And the third part really is great. Like, we really get to see Shandy and how her personality. And I was like, man, I wish we saw this the whole book, because she's a sweet little bean. And so it was just very disappointing. This book without Martha, 3-4 stars. But unfortunately, Martha was in it, and it really did feel like, oh, Martha was so funny in the first book. People loved her, so put in a lot of Martha. Like, I was pretending to be an editor or publisher, like an annoying one. Did you get it? Anyway, it just felt like people shoved, oh, Martha's so great, put more Martha. So she put more Martha. And it went from, like, the first book where Martha was actually really funny and a good balance, too obnoxious, taking away Shandy's choice and agency. And like Martha's like this all powerful, like, oh, I know everything and I know what's best. And it's like, no. Especially annoying when the Fallon and Shandy meet when she gets home because there is a championship going on. Because her father, unbeknownst to everybody, her father wants the 5 top warriors for Shandy to pick her bond with. Because in their culture, for his little girl, he needs someone that he knows can protect her. But he wants to give her a choice, which is not part of their culture. So the barbarian king and like Fallon, who's his own barbarian king, is like, oh no, you have choice, you have all this, the rules in my continent are a lot looser for women, but this, this, and this to keep you safe. So there's still some barbaric, draconian to keep part of this world and romance all, whatever. But the barbarians in this are giving her more choice, more leeway, and more agency than her mother, who was born and raised on a planet of equals, sexes are equals, and the computer that was created for her do. So that's what bothered me the most. They were just ripping away her personality and the fact that she's adult and can make her own choices the whole time. And that's why this is the first star. 1 star. And it drove me nuts. Because you know what? I really was looking forward to it. This was a reread, but I didn't remember it. Like, it was so long ago. It was like in high school. So long ago. I didn't remember it. The first book I remember vaguely not liking, and then I revisited it last week, and it was a 5 stars. So I was really excited about this one, and it let me down, and that sucks. Am I gonna read the story about the brother? Yeah, I am, because like I wanna know. You know what I mean? Whew, sorry, I need some water. Hold on a second. Okay. All right, now this one. Mine Till Midnight, Lisa Kleypas. And this is the first of the Hathaway stories. Here we go. This is the Hathaway series, the Hathaway Sisters. This is FM, and this is historical. 5 stars. I loved it. It made my week. I really did like it. I was took a break from Lisa Kleypas because the Wallflower series I didn't particularly like. I only really liked Evie's story, and that was it. Daisy's story was okay, but Evie's story was the only one I really liked, and I just was kind of tired a little bit of Lisa Kleypas's, at least for that series, like the tropes that she was using. And I haven't read enough of Lisa Kleypas to know her, to figure out all her writing styles and everything that she does and things like that. So this is Amelia Hathaway and Cam Rohan from Evie's story. So if you remember, he works at the gambling establishment, and he's half Romani, half Irish. The Hathaway, she is the oldest girl. She has a younger sister, Wynn, who just survived the scarlet fever and is really super sickly and weak. She has Poppy, Poppy's pretty funny. I liked her. And the youngest, Beatrix, who has some kleptomania going on because their parents died. Who would have been her older brother, who is the oldest, Leo, his fiance died. Leo, who also got the scarlet fever when Wynn did, they both almost died, and now Leo is pretty self-destructive, and they're poor, and so she's freaking out, and she doesn't realize why she's doing it, but she's, The thing about this one, I loved it. I loved the sisters. I love that they weren't perfect, and to deal with loss, Amelia is super controlling. I just, Wynn is frustrated because everyone's treating her like a porcelain doll, and they have Maripen, I'm not saying it right, I'm so sorry, is a boy they ran into who was beaten and left on their property. He is Romani, and he grew up with them, and they adore him. They consider him part of the family. He's the one that kind of keeps himself apart a little bit, and I'm really looking forward to Wynn's story, and it better be with Maripen, because I don't know, man. I still don't understand why she had the scene in Evie's story, the Wallflower 3 book, where Cam and Daisy kissed. I still don't get why she put that in, but fucking whatever. Cam is charming, a rascal. He wants freedom. He's tired of living in the city and stuff like that. But then he meets Amelia, and he And he's kind of bored. Like, he's bored of all these women throwing themselves at him. He no longer has desire for them. And then he meets Amelia, and he's like, hey, she's my resting place. She's the one. So it's pretty cute. And Amelia doesn't want to marry him, not because he's Romani, but because she feels like she'll be taking away his freedom, and she doesn't want to lose her freedom because she's committed to being a spinster. It's pretty cute. I loved all the sisters, and you're not supposed to really like the brother because he seems so selfish and self-destructive, but that was the point of him. So I really hope he has his own story because I would love to see him heal and things like that. The happy ending was wonderful. And this was great because the other wallflowers from the second book and the third book make an appearance, and you hear about Daisy's story. And that was kind of the perfect amount of them coming in and out. They didn't overpower the story. It was clearly about Cam and Amelia, so that was fine. And how this happens, Amelia meets Cam where she's looking for a brother in Jenner's, the gambling club. And then they meet again because Leo just came into a title, and Lord Ramsay, and that is neighbors with Marcus and Lillian from the second book. And so that's how they meet again. It's very cute. 5 stars. And usually, and yes, I know that like in a series, I don't like to give out 5 stars till I've read all of them. But I was thinking about that. And this is kind of different from the same couple going through different books. Because every book in this is a different couple. Hopefully, fucking hell, I hope so. So, they're just sisters and related. And then, of course, I'll do the whole, if I like the Hathaways, at the end of it, a big kind of rating. But I'm going to rate them all as individual books until that point. You know what I mean? So this is a 5 star. I really enjoyed it. I loved it. It was so much fun. It was so cute. It reminded me why I like the Lisa Kleypas stories in the first place, because the wallflowers kind of burned me out on her. I'm just being honest. It was just too much of like, I don't want to be with you because you're industrialist. Like, too much of that all the damn time. Like, it was just too much. But this one I really enjoyed. And I liked Amelia. I really liked her. And like, I felt so bad for her. She's like, her older brother doesn't help. And, he makes problems. And there's so much she has to take care of with her younger sisters. And like, she doesn't have anyone to lean on. And then Cam is there. And like, she lets herself lean on him. And it's such a beautiful scene when she finally lets go of all of that tension and stress and just everything. It's so wonderful. Because I don't even think she had a chance to mourn her parents. Because she was just, I have to take care of this, I have to take care of that. And Leo's fiance that dies, it was her best friend too, and she was dead. And like, she couldn't mourn any of that. So it's so great to see that. So I really love them as a couple. And that was fun. Alright, so the last book would be Super Accountant. And that is His Human Assistant, Monsters Love Curvy Girls by Michele Mills. There we go. And let me tell you about this one. Wait, let me tell you about this one. No. This is an FM sci-fi book. FM sci-fi book. And Avery is the accountant. And this has to do with Agar and Berg's, from the first 2 books, their friend Hannibal, who was also, used to be Black Ops. I don't think he is Black Ops anymore because they didn't mention it in this book. And he is co-founder and co-owner of the personal security that Berg works for, owns. So they are in it together. They're co-owners. And I'm happy I read this. Because the first book I thought was cute. Second book, I didn't know what the fuck was happening. But you could tell by the writing the author enjoyed herself. So, okay. And then this book, I'm happy I did. I actually think this is better than the first book. It was cute. It was fast paced. Avery is a hoot. And I love that Avery is, she was undercover IBB agent. So the IBB is Intergalactic Business Bureau. And she goes into companies that they suspect something is going on funny with their taxes. And she goes undercover as just, a business accountant. And she finds out what's going on. And she reports back and has them held accountable to go to trial and things like that. So she's running for her life. And the thing I love about this is even though Hannibal's this big warrior guy, Avery saves herself. And it's not physical. She doesn't physically fight them. She uses her brain and she outwits them and she saves her ass twice. And I love that. So she is on the run because they found out it was her. So she's on the run. Her cover's been blown. She's booked it. She's out of there. She has to get off the planet quick. So she signs up for the same agency that Riley did in the first book because they immediately send you off planet. And Hannibal's looking for a personal assistant, and there was a coupon with the company, and she came at a great discount, so she hired her. So she sees them, and she screams a couple times until she gets over it, because apparently they're so terrifying looking. But as soon as they get over that fear, man, they want that big red dick. So that's that. And Hannibal's a single dad to Dagger, who is a 9-year-old, and is so cute, you know? His personality is just adorable. This is fast-paced. It's cute. Yes, the author still has that repetitive narrative going on a little bit. Like, they repeat their own narrative a little bit. But I think that might be their style, you know? And that's fine. It's not enough to, like, harp on it. It was actually pretty funny. I liked that Avery and Hannibal both really like saving things. Like, he buys coupons and he loves deals and saves. And his son, in the beginning, before Avery shows up, he's like, I'm good at saving too because I bought this and it was like on this huge discount. And his dad is all proud of him. And he's like, yes, you are a Hellstone. And the son's all proud that he made, like, he bought something on sale. You know, it was really cute. And Avery being like super accountant, she's like, oh, I could write this off and I could do this and we can consolidate this and save you this and he's like, oh, I love you. So it's just cute that like they have saving and that kind of stuff in common. I really do like that. And there was very tongue-in-cheek moments like Riley and Chloe come to, welcome her into the neighborhood and stuff like that. And they're telling the romance. And with Riley's, she's like, oh, that's so romantic and sweet. And then with Chloe's story, she's like, well, that was one crazy story. So I loved how the author kind of made fun of herself a little bit about book 2 and the nuts stuff that was going on with that. So that was really cute. If you kind of went off this series because you didn't, like, book 2 wasn't your jam, I really would recommend like checking out 3. It reminded me why I like this writer. The subtle world building was there and it was phenomenal. You know more about New Earth and, the conditions there and stuff like that. Which I've been curious about. And again, it's done in this writer's fantastic world building style where it's just like very subtle, very there. It's not in your face, but you get the sense of it. You understand what's going on. So I really did enjoy that. So, and the happy ending is cute. It's like 126 pages. It's a fast read. I loved it. I'm happy I went with it because I was kind of like, oh, the second one was rough. That was rough. What the fuck? And then I'm like, okay, the reason I got into the series because I read the synopsis of the third one and it intrigued me and I didn't want to start the series at the third book. And I'm happy I didn't. And the third book so far is my favorite. So I was, yes. Avery is so much fun. Hannibal's a sweetheart. Like, it's because the first 2 books, the men were so confident and self-assured. And Hannibal, because his past bond, he suspects she killed herself because she didn't actually love him. He's so insecure and he doesn't want to bind anybody to him anymore because who would want to be with him forever? Nobody. And that's just like, oh no, don't say that. So it's kind of cute that Avery's like, I got this. And she, and like, I don't want to spoil stuff, but she kind of takes control and she's like, in that situation, she's about how he thinks no one would want to be with him forever. Like, I like that. I like that Hannibal was kind of self-conscious and insecure about that. Yet a badass warrior. So, like, I liked that kind of personality dynamic. I liked the older son. He's like 9. And, like, him and Avery, their dynamic and what that means. And how, like, he's just a cute kid. So, if you got off the series because book 2, because that wasn't your jam, that's fine. I would recommend checking 3 out because it reminded me how much fun I have reading these books because the author just seems to be having a freaking blast. And that's kind of, even if you don't like what's going on, that in itself kind of gives you a little, I like, that's fun. Hey, you go. You live your life. You write what you want. You go. So that was this week. Thanks for letting me ramble. I don't want to, but it's time for me to get back to the real world. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.